Good morning. Seattle Mayor Ed Murray announcing he will do away with a proposal to increase property taxes in the city in order to pay for more homeless services. Instead, he says he's going to team up with King County to support a county-wide sales tax increase that would go on the ballot in 2018. And the mayor joining us in studio this morning. We appreciate you being here. You know, this property tax increase, it's something you announced at your State of the City address. Yes. You had a press conference about it, which I was pretty harsh to you at that press conference, and you defended it with all your heart, and now you're backing away from it. Is this a sign that you didn't think it would pass, or what's the reasoning there? Actually,
no. The polling showed that it would pass. I think the important thing is that this is not a Seattle homeless crisis. It is a region-wide homeless crisis. And at least half of the services that are provided to the homeless in Seattle are actually controlled by the county, not the city. So when the county showed interest in going out next year with a larger package that would provide services both for folks in Seattle and in the county, it just made more sense to us.
Did the county not get on board? Did you guys not talk to the county before you announced during your State of the City you wanted a property tax increase, or were they hesitant, or where was that disconnect?
Well, they had not shown an indication to use authority they have from the legislature, but that seemed to change after our announcement, and there were county council members who showed an interest in a need to move forward in suburban King County, where the homeless problem grows as well. So it was a real opportunity to do something bolder and bigger, and quite honestly, to remind people it is in suburban cities, not just the city of Seattle.
So either way, whether we're talking about $55 million a year from property taxes or $68 million a year from a sales tax, something I know I've expressed to you before, and I know you feel the same way, is the desire to make sure that that money is spent to the best of its ability to help people in need. So this isn't going to happen until 2018. So you tell me what you guys are going to do from now until then to make sure we're not wasting money.
Well, one of the first things I did when I became mayor is I asked, well, what's going on here? The problem's getting worse. And we brought in outside experts. They made a series of recommendations for what we needed to do to change our system, such as the city had not bid its contracts competitively for 10 years. So we've reformed our bidding process. Those reforms are underway. We are bidding all of our contracts right now based on outcomes to those agencies that can show they can reduce homelessness. In addition, I'm going to send legislation to the council asking for an independent accountability review board that will independently of me and the council report to us in the city about, are we spending our money on the best practices to deal with this crisis?
Now, there's some skepticism about whether we even need to raise taxes to pay for more homeless services. I was rereading a Danny Westney column in the Seattle Times, and he pointed out that last year there was two separate consultants that were paid a pretty penny to review our homeless services system, and they felt like the current level of funding, in my understanding of the column, the current level of funding was fine. It was just we weren't spending the money in the right way, which was the problem.
So absolutely, when I came in, we were not spending the money the right way. But the other thing is we asked them to look at existing funds. And I have an email from Barb Poppy, who's one of the people who wrote those reports, who said that the problem has grown and we do need more money. And by the way, she also said in that email, if she lived here, she would vote for this proposal. So there's a little bit of confusion about what we asked them to do and what they're actually recommending.
So she has changed course from when she said...
She hasn't changed course. First of all, we asked her to look at existing funds. That's what we asked her to do. Secondly, when she was asked, is the crisis growing, she said yes, and we need more funds. And you have to remember, the federal government has slashed funding for homelessness and affordable housing significantly. And the proposal going forward out of this new administration is basically to decimate the money that we receive. So we're on our own. The city and the county are not going to get funds from the federal government. This crisis, we can do better in delivering services, but this crisis across the West Coast is not going to be solved unless somebody steps up and pays for additional housing.
So quickly on this one, because I want to move on to a different topic, do you think the voters will pass this? Sales tax increase countywide?
I believe, so remember, it is a tax for services needed throughout the county. And I believe people understand more than ever that this is a growing crisis throughout the county, throughout the region, throughout this country.
So I've got you here, Mayor of Seattle. This is a huge day in Seattle.
Hopefully.
With Bertha. Well, yeah, you never want to say for sure, but we've been saying all morning Bertha is expected to, perhaps around noon, finally finish her journey. Imagine that after all this time. What does today mean to you in terms of that project and what it means for the city moving forward?
Well, it means a chance for us to take down the viaduct, which is going to collapse, build that road, build that park, and also it's sort of it's a happy day for me because even though it was a stay project, everyone associated with the mayor. So now that it's coming out, I hope people continue to make that association.
To associate it with you right now that she's finally finished her path forward. Another subject I want to bring up with you, which was interesting, which I read yesterday, Attorney General Jeff Sessions has come out and said that he wants to reevaluate all the agreements the Department of Justice has made to reform various police departments across our country. Of course, our police department has been under the thumb of the Department of Justice and a consent decree for some time. Could the DOJ come in and say, all that work you did doesn't matter, we don't think that this agreement is going to continue?
I think if they did that anywhere, it'll be unfortunate. We have a real issue about police and race in this country we need to address. But the great thing for us is we are mostly through our process, and it is controlled by the federal judge. And the federal judge, not the DOJ, will decide when we are in compliance. This is the same federal judge who put a stay on the president's executive order on travel from other countries on the part of immigrants, particularly Muslims. So we are in a good place because it's not the administration that controls it, it is the court. This police department has made more progress than any police department in America. We're almost towards the finish of this process, and I would hate to see them to come in and try and stop it.
All right, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray, we appreciate you being here. A couple things we're watching in addition to this, the lawsuit over sanctuary cities. Clearly, we're going to wait to see where that will go, kind of ongoing pushback. And on the homeless issue, I want to acknowledge this. I know that you wouldn't have changed something that you announced during your State of the City if you didn't think it would actually make the problem better. And so I think for people who are seeing that in the change of course, I think for a mayor to stand up and say, I'm going to change my mind from something I said during my State of the City I'm going to do, I firmly believe that you believe that's the better option, and we'll have to wait and see what voters think as well.
I appreciate you saying that. I often don't hear it, so thank you.
I know I've been hard on you on the issue. So, Mayor, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.